Blaine Fowler, former BYU national champion and BYU TV dual sport analyst, joining us live on set.
Have we had you up here with us before? Just
no,
on the phone,
just
right?
Always on the phone.
Sweet.
When I'm watching and I see what you guys get to wear, I got like excited. Like, hey, come in, wear a golf shirt. Don't worry about a suit and tie.
Yeah. It's
awesome.
Yeah.
I love this radio/TV gig. This is awesome.
We call it radio vision.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Listen, you are in better shape now than you were when you were a national champion quarterback at BYU.
Oh,
what's
no,
it? Yeah, what's
not
going
true,
on?
Not true. Not true.
You took the off-season conditioning seriously.
Yeah, Bronco challenged everybody to work hard in the off-season to get in shape, and I thought, hey, I'm gonna take the challenge. I'm gonna do it. So I just worked out like a madman.
Holy
You look
cow,
great.
And I also
great.
had Gavin coming back from his mission, who would not let me miss a workout. So as he's getting prepared to, for football this fall, and so he's going to join up with a team the first day of school. Just barely got back 2 months ago, so won't participate in fall camp. None of the return missionary walk-ons that are back in midsummer. Really, for safety reasons, will join the camp. We don't need any pulled hamstrings out of those guys. They're just back. But.
Well, that's weird to me a little bit because some guys are in there and some guys aren't. So,
Yeah.
like Harvey Longy, Troy Hines.
So
Yet Corey Edwards is being held back, who we thought would be the place kicker.
Well, and Corey he tweaked his back just a little bit, and he's feeling fine. I mean, I just talked to Corey the other day, so he's feeling fine. But I think Bronco wants to err on the side of caution with these return missionaries. And if you're a scholarship return missionary, they have you in camp by NCAA guidelines. They have to have you in camp unless you have some type of an injury. I think if they had it their way, they would have all of those kids that got back June or later just work out until the beginning of school to avoid injuries. And so they're doing everything they can to keep them healthy. I think about guys like Troy Hines, who's going to be just unbelievable football player. He's a crazy talent. You talk about linebackers to watch. I mean, he's going to be, but he's a really good family friend. And I know that we all just go, okay, don't pull a hamstring, don't pull a hamstring, don't pull a hamstring.
Get healthy, get in condition.
Yeah, and as much as they try to tell these guys, hey, you just got back a few weeks ago, so take it easy, it's hard when they're doing a pursuit drill or you're chasing after somebody with a football to, in your mind, say, okay, hey, I can't go full speed. So we watch those guys like Harvey and Troy, and we just keep our fingers crossed that they're smart with their bodies and they don't do anything crazy, and that we can keep them healthy long enough to get in the kind of condition they need to be in to be able to contribute and play.
Which linebacker are you most excited to watch play in 2014?
Well, it's twofold, and you guys have talked about Alani, and he's an incredible, incredible talent. I mean, his ability to cover in space is as good as most strong safeties in the country.
Yeah, he's a safety.
Yeah, and so he can get on an inside receiver, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a tight end type. It can be an inside slot receiver, and he can take him away. I'm trying to remember the game where an inside receiver was running a seam route. It was Houston.
Oh, the game winner.
Yeah.
The game winner.
Yeah, and he makes a play on the ball that I'm not sure there's 5 linebackers in the country that can make that play in space against the pass. And so he's tremendous there. And as he's gotten bigger and stronger over the last couple of years, he's developed into a guy that can be an edge player as well. So he can hold down that edge. He can come up and be a force player as an outside backer. And so now he's got a complete game. And he is very talented. You can see here how he can run. And so he's gone from a guy that can play in space with tremendous talent to a guy now that has the physical strength to be able to play the outside. And I'm just so excited to see how this season pans out for him. And, if you take a look at Alani as a freshman, I mean, he won't take offense. He was just like this goofy freshman.
He was so skinny.
I don't know that I ever thought that guy would get out on the field. I knew he was a fast guy, but
he was just a tall guy.
It's a testament to work because he's transformed his body into a guy that can be out on the field. So it's a guy that was long and had speed. He looked like a basketball player, and he's such an easygoing, nice kid that you're like, does this kid have the intensity to put the work in to be good? And I'm telling you, he's shown us over and over again these last couple off seasons. He's got the intensity. He has that ability to turn that switch on. He walks over that white line, and he becomes a madman. And he comes off of the field, and he's one of the nicest kids you'll ever be around. So I'm really excited to watch him this fall because I think he's going to blossom into one of the premier linebackers in the country.
I mentioned that he had moved to the wheel. That's not true. He's still the same. Bronson Kafusi is at the wheel. So no pressure, Bronson. You replace Kyle Van Noy. That's not going to be hard. The wide receivers really stuck out to us as we watched Friday and Saturday. A lot of deep balls thrown with accuracy. and then some underthrown because Devon Blackman's just too fast. I noticed that. But BYU's got some receivers, Blaine. I think they upgraded the talent of that position.
Yeah, that's probably, and we all were together watching practice the end of last week, and that's probably the position that we went into fall with the most anticipation about, and so far through a few days of camp, it's been the most impressive position.
Agreed.
Because all of the guys that we thought were going to make plays are making plays. We're not seeing a lot of drop balls. We're seeing routes run. That's the thing I was watching. I'm like, okay, these new guys. How's Devon Blackman going to be at route running? Is Nick Kurtz going to continue to progress from where he was? Jordan Leslie, what do we make of Jordan Leslie? How fast is he going to learn the offense? Is he going to run routes well? And the answers are resounding yes for all of those things that we were wondering about. I mean, they're making plays. Blackman is a good route runner. That I have to admit, that's a pleasant surprise for me. So many times these guys will have this incredible speed, don't have the discipline to run the routes that you want him to run. He's been a tremendous route runner for a guy with that kind of speed. And I think the guy that has been maybe the most impressive to me has been Jordan Leslie. He's come in, and I thought he would be good. And, we were talking about who can we project. Do we know if Nick Kurtz is going to be good? Well, we don't know for sure. Do we know if Blackman? Well, we don't know for sure. Jordan Leslie's the one guy that we've said all along. There's no question he's going to have an impact. He's already played at the highest level. He's already been unbelievably productive. It's just how fast will he learn the offense? And, talking to Taysom Hill, he's like really impressed with how fast he's picked this up and how he understands the adjustments and he's running the proper routes and all that. So I think Jordan Leslie's going to contribute in a big, big way, and we're going to see him be one of the go-to guys for BYU this fall.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation, former BYU quarterback, national champion, and dual threat analyst. Blaine, let's talk about Taysom Hill. He's got a number of weapons to throw the ball to now. You mentioned to me at practice, immediately after you saw his footwork, he just looks so much better already. What specifically did you see in Taysom's footwork that made you think he's put in some serious work over the summer?
Well, he's throwing downhill, so he's not on his back foot at all. There were times last year when there'd be a pass rush or he got in a hurry, they would throw off balance, he'd be back a little bit, and his stride foot wasn't – when you're throwing the football, you're trying to get your hips perfectly aligned to where the football's going. And so if that stride foot isn't in the right spot, then it affects where the ball is going to go. It's either going to take off or it'll dive down. So I'm watching his feet really, really close because if a quarterback's footwork is consistently good, then he's going to be consistently accurate. And that's been a work in progress during his career. So I isolated on that for almost the entire practice when I was watching Taysom. His footwork was perfect for the whole practice. So that was impressive to me. And that's the product of a lot of work. So he's put a lot of work into it. Now, and it's holding up in practice. So now the next test is when he lines up against UConn, and even more importantly, the next week against Texas, when he's going to get some pressure because they'll come after him. That's the style of defense we're going to see Texas play.
Reed will be in the backfield.
Yeah. So will those mechanics, now he's done literally thousands of reps of good footwork in this offseason, through spring ball, through the summer. Now we want it to hold up under pressure. Does those mechanics hold up under pressure when he's got to, make the perfect throw? I believe he's put enough reps in that it will. And if it does, okay, watch out. Because that receiving core is really, really good. And his accuracy is going to be where we'd like to see it for a BYU quarterback. And this could be a scary offense with the weapons they have.
It's at this point in the conversation that we need to remember that we've seen 2 practices.
Right.
And pull it back, baby. Pull it back. Let's see some more. Brian Logan made a great point yesterday when he said, okay, as the 5-day acclimation period happens, pads are going to get, shells start to happen, helmets, all that. Then the D-line will actually get a rush. Mm-hmm. Now the linebackers actually get to hit somebody. Then we'll see if BYU has all this time in the pocket and clear passing lanes and all that. How does practice sort of evolve in the first couple days, Blaine?
Well, right now they're just trying to get in shape. And I can tell you, I talked to some of the kids that are good friends on Sunday, and I said, how's your legs? I almost can't walk. And these are kids that have been working hard, And so right now is about timing, working more on footwork and things for guys, for everybody, not just for the quarterback, footwork, technique, and getting a base of fitness so that they can really, really go hard. Now, they've been working like crazy, but there's nothing like the work that happens when you come into fall camp and the coaches are there every minute pushing you. So this first week, they call it acclimation because your body's getting acclimated to working that hard every day. And then now we make that transition after the first 5 days. They continue to work on all of those things, but now the physical part of the game comes for a short period because Broncos always aware of keeping these guys healthy through fall camp. We're not going to see Taysom Hill get touched. If anybody gets near him, somebody's going to be in trouble. I can tell you that.
Someone's going to get yelled at.
It's actually funny when someone does.
Yeah, it's just, hey, what? Don't. I ran 4 feet behind him. Don't go 4 feet behind him. Yeah. Don't go in. You reached out your hand toward him. Don't reach out your hand toward him.
Don't look him in the eye.
Yeah. So, but what I'm anxious to see, I think this is a very important time that we're coming into now that they'll be in shells and they'll be in pads for the offensive line. Because to me, that's the biggest question mark remaining for this football team is this group going to be more physical? And we talked about it last week. Are they going to be more physical? Are they going to execute at a higher level than they did, especially in the red zone when they get down in the goal line? Or similar to the red zone when it's 3rd and 1, are they going to be physical and knock people off the ball? Are they going to go confidently off the football, know who they've got and where they're going so that they go aggressively off the line and just reestablish that line of scrimmage in the defense? This is the time that now we start to establish that. And until they get pads on, Garrett Tujague, he can't really settle on who that perfect rotation is going to be. He's got to see these guys in pads. Yep. And we're going to see those receivers catch balls with guys now that they're not going to let the defense take open shots at these guys. But it's going to be a little more physical. They're going to get held on to trying to release on their routes. So now they got to play physical. They've got to learn how to get off the football and get their releases and get into their routes, even though the DBs are now grabbing them and smacking them and redirecting and doing all those things. So it's all been all mental and conditioning. Now the physical part comes for a short period before then they taper that down and get ready to go play a football game and get everybody's legs back before UConn.
And they are practicing as we speak. We'll head over there after and do some interviews shortly.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation. There's been this big developing storyline early in camp with the depth of the running backs. All summer long, Jeremy and I were talking about, the one group we know about that's going to deliver are the running backs with JAMAAL Williams and Adam Heeney and Paul Lasike and Algie Brown. Well, now JAMAAL suspended for the first game against UConn. Algie Brown's being held out with academic issues we learned from Brian Logan yesterday. So now it's fallen to Heeney and Lasike. What kind of a game plan now does BYU have to implement at UConn, or will it change that much at all?
I don't think it changed that much. We saw Adam running with the ones the other day in practice, and we saw Adam's body. My heavens. He is the best built man I've ever seen in a BYU football on this team. Wow. It's like ridiculous. They should just make a statue of him right now and go over and put it in Greece. I mean, that's what he looks like.
Can we make a statue of Lavelle first here?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's put a statue of Lavelle.
Then Adam Heeney.
Then we'll do an Adam Heeney one.
Then Mike Haig.
He could be the model for all the great sculptures. For Bernini. Bernini should have done a sculpture of Adam Heeney's body and put it over in Rome.
Bernini.
So I don't have any.
Humanities 101.
So Adam's going to hold up just fine if he has to, get the bulk of the carries. And then Paul's a road grader that can also help out. Nate Carter has been a solid player that can play
of the spring.
and help out. I mean, he's a guy that we don't talk about that much that's very, very capable. And they've got so many weapons at the receiver position that they can, don't be surprised if Dye comes over and runs some things out of the backfield if they need to get to the edge.
Please.
He could be a scary guy, and they can use him in multiple ways. So they'll work around that. I do believe that Algie's going to get eligible. I do, JAMAAL is going to be suspended for a game, and he's going to be back. So it's really only the first game that we worry about, and I think we're going to be in good hands in that first game. I trust Adam Heeney completely to be able to carry that load if needed. And then that combination of he and Paul and Nate Carter, I think we're going to be just fine for that first game. And then JAMAAL comes back and we're right back where we were, where you think it's going to be just fine.
The ripped, cut version of Blaine Fowler on set. See, BYU Sports Nation.
If I can get built like Adam Heeney, then I'm going to start going on TV and taking off my
shirt.
Stop it.
I
mean, that guy's ridiculous.
We will have a sculpture of you in the studio, Blaine.
You're not going to look like Adam Heeney. What the heck?
Oh. You have inspired Jeremy and I to work out at least one day a week.
What is a workout?
You got to go twice a day.
Twice a day.
Lifting in the morning and cardio at night.
Oh.
I don't know if I can handle that.
You got me at twice. Stop.
Blaine, thanks for coming in the studio. Good to have you with us.
Good to be in studio.
The linebackers are on topic today. Our Twitter question is, which linebacker are you most excited to watch for BYU next year? Use the hashtag BYUSN. Oh, by the way, if you haven't heard, Stone Cold Sober, 17 straight years.
Yeah, I'll drink to that right now. Cold one.
Have a cold chocolate milk on us. This is BYU Sports Nation on BYU Radio, simulcast on BYU TV.
Ain't no party like a Provo party. I've said that a million times.